You are now tuned into the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
I don't know if I'm okay. I don't see the light of day. Looking up to higher ground, thinking that'll be your sweet escape. These days gotta schedule the romance. They say that love is a slow dance. A short bike ride to the crib using no hands. Oh shit, it feel like I'm floating, but I'm falling with both eyes closed when I let the world spin. Testing the water, she got my nerves tense. Back when I ain't even have a purpose, I was so eager to learn some things. Anxiety bring out the worst in me. Society paint me as enemy. My niggas making it by that remedy. I'm more occasional, don't do it regularly. Backs under my eyes, weighing down heavily. Mama been worried, the devil allegedly deep in the plan. Subconsciously wanted it since I was 10. I thought I was sharp on my scroll and my pen think it did. So mama found shit of them legs. She told me that's not who I am. But nowadays I put on for the fam, see it when I can. I'm surrounded by my feelings, I'm stuck on a Ferris wheel. I bet I perish with 140 acres. She wants the horse and the carriage, a porcelain portion of garbage. I talk to the mirror, I know that life's not the fairest. I lost my can, I can't pay off the bills with the blessing. I'm sure I relate to the Reddit page. It's feeling like money is everything. Money is everything.
You are now tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that's on all the time, anytime. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for all content. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell. Bring your sports game with Big Nate Sports Talk.
I'm going to reiterate my comments right here, right now. The clock is officially ticking. The honeymoon is over. Damn your feelings. Who gives a damn? You got a job to do. And the job ain't even a championship. It's to be respectable. And you can't even do that?
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. I hope you're all doing well. Hope you had a very happy Merry Christmas. Hope Santa Claus treated each and every one of you well. Hope you're all staying safe. It is a beautiful, beautiful Monday evening. Before we get into the video, there's a few things I'd like to say up front. I do want to really quick emphasize if the episodes are off, because I have been behind in terms of recording. This is episode 14. This episode was to recap the Washington Commanders versus New York Giants. Instead, this episode will now be recapping the 49ers and the New York Giants. So it'll be a 2-for-1 video. I will have the Baltimore Ravens reaction up as well this evening. Tomorrow, I'll focus on Maryland football and basketball. Maryland football, we're actually getting ready to play NC State in the Mayo Bowl. The Lady Terps are on a bit of a winter break, and so is the men. And then we'll probably do a couple more videos. We'll do the previews and then the year review, and that'll probably be it for season 12 as we get ready for the new year. I still have not forgotten to get the rest of season 11 looking for Spotify. So please bear with me. Like I said, my goal is to have it up before the year's up and also rest of season 12. So let's just get into it. So we played the San Francisco 49ers, and coming off a loss against the which was very, very disappointing. It still feels like this team is still figuring some things out. As you see the title, that's why I said they need to regroup. It felt like a very one-sided loss against San Francisco. I've first and foremost, I just want to get out the way. Congratulations to those that did make the Pro Bowl. Derek Forrest, Tressway, much deserved. This was a good year for them. I mean, Tressway is arguably one of the best punters in the game, and Derek Forrest, he's definitely proven his worth for this defense for years to come, and the hard work pays off. So I'm very happy for those guys that they got into the Pro Bowl. But if you remember, um, just to give some background, so remember 3 weeks ago we saw the same New York Giant team and we tied in overtime. Then we come back the second go around, and we didn't do so well in that first game, the second game, excuse me. Um, I thought the offensive line, the not having depth, is showing. There were times where there are lapses in the defensive play calling. Scott Turner has shown why I think it's just time to move on from him. Um, the fact that when you call 5 rushing attempts for Curtis Samuel and they only ended up with 1 yard, um, that's disgusting. And again, we can blame officiating. Shout out to Will Kramer and Sean for the football we talked last week. Referees, uh, what's going on? Yeah, brother, how are you? What's going on? Um, Cheating should never be the excuse of a game. It's if it was the same officiating crew and made the exact same call, you may have an argument. But you have to understand every official's, each referee crew is different. And I know this was 8 days ago, but when I looked at the play, there were some mistakes. I do think he should have looked at the ref. I think he was positioned a little illegally. He should have given him the referee, am I okay? And most referees would say, step up a little bit. However, I was really, really disappointed. And to coming into San Francisco, first and foremost, I want to give Brock Purdy his flowers. Happy holidays, Lucinda. Thank you, much appreciated. A lot of people were he's Mr. Relevant in the draft. A lot of people were like, do we sign Drew Brees, Big Ben Roethlisberger? And he is doing what he needs to do. He is a game manager. He's making plays. Even with Deebo Samuel not there, George Kittle's been stepping up as of late. Brandon Ayuk has been stepping up as of late. He's doing just fine. It's still looking like, for all means, that Jimmy Garoppolo won't be there next year. While they've made it clear, regardless, that this was still Trey Lance's team. But I'm actually starting to have second thoughts. I think that Brock Purdy has an argument to be the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers going into next year. So this is 37-20.
What was that? What the hell was that? What was that? What the hell was that? I'm sorry the H words and the D words aren't appropriate over the airwaves, but it's going to be today. I don't know how much more of this I can take. How in God's name?
Okay. Chase Young made his NFL debut. I was concerned for a little bit there. I was really hoping he would get back on the field. I was glad to see him out there. Well deserved. The only thing is that this defense still needs some help. And it shows. I can't begin to tell you how at times our defense looks to be a liability at times. First, let's keep it real. As long as we kept it competitive, San Francisco is going to win this game. I mean, with Chase Young was on the pitch. Let's start with Chase Young. Obviously, that's was really the elephant in the room. Was he going to play this year? And he was on the pitch count. I'd say it was about 16 snaps, 16 to 20 snaps. I would have expected him to play. And there was a couple plays where he did pretty good. There was one he did what he needed. This is what we're hoping to see, and I thought he did really good. The defense really needs some adjusting. I mean, the defense I thought for the most part did a good job keeping the team in the game. I thought particularly on the first drive where they got the fourth down stop. Derek Forrest had the game tying touchdown, and then he had the first half. Offensively, we were just not making effective plays. We were stopped on, whether we couldn't convert on third down, couldn't convert on fourth down. Taylor Heineke threw an interception, and then he fumbled the ball, and it just looked terrible in the second half. The second half to me was the X factor of our loss. I mean, just in the first half, it was 14 points combined, 7-7. There was the Brock Purdy touchdown to start the third quarter. And then the same thing where we turned it over in our own territory. And I hate to do this, but we have to, part of when you're critiquing players, it's not criticism. It's, that's part of your job. You have to critique players. And I feel like there's some that feel like I'm being harsh on Taylor Heineke. Taylor, I've said he brings moxie. He knows the system. He brings a certain swag that Carson Wentz has yet to really feel. But I thought for the most part he played decent until the fourth quarter. He's fumbled the ball now. He fumbled the ball. That was his third time in 2 weeks, which would in points turned over. And he got benched. I thought at times he really, really struggled with play calling. Well, first and foremost, Scott Turner was no help at all, because his CERM, again, time's up on Scott Turner. The offensive line is a liability, and when you're already dealing with those kind of things, and you're going to hear me talk about this with Tyler Huntley when I recap the Baltimore Ravens versus the Atlanta Falcons. When you're limited with poor pass protection and an offensive coordinator that's supposed to be this offensive guru, and he's not helping you, turning the ball over doesn't help. And unfortunately, that's what happened. I hated to see it. I hated to see that happen, but it's time. I mean, Taylor Heineke is a backup quarterback. I mean, he was 13 or 17 for 160. I mean, he was a 13 for 17 for 166 yards for 2 touchdowns. I mean, this is the same guy that after Carson Wentz, I think it was like the first 4 weeks of the season, and I can't remember, I think it was after the Eagle game, maybe the Dallas game, where Carson struggled. There were people within the Washington Commander community, I saw on an article, basically calling for Taylor Heineke to start. And what's the excuse after now this game? Because now, if I'm Washington, you're going to have to put Carson back in there. And I think it's a little unfair to Carson because he hasn't had. I think you need a year to adjust to the team and to the system. And I feel like we've put this timer on Carson, like he's supposed to just. adjust and get to know the system like that. And especially when you don't have a healthy offensive line. You have an offensive coordinator who's not making the game easy for you. The play calling is suspect. And then also, too, there's no consistency at offense. Like, if he had a healthy offense, I'm down with that. But I for the most part, I didn't see that. I was very disappointed. Um, and when I look at Washington, that's what I saw. Um, I thought we did on the defensive side. George Kittle just made this. We had no answers in containing him. 120 yards for 2 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey played a role in Ray McLeod getting a 71-yard touchdown. Our running game was not much better. This is a San Francisco team that is top 10, I want to say, in against the run. And they went straight to passing defense. Brian Robinson Jr. had 17 carries for 44 yards, if I remember correctly. He had 22 yards of 58 yards. As a cohesive unit, we were limited to almost 2.5 yards per carry, and we were like the final stat line was like 80 yards as a cohesive unit. I thought also too in the short game, whether it was 3rd and 5 or 3-and-1, 3-and-2, or it doesn't matter. We couldn't score in our own end zone. There were 4 consecutive times we ran the ball within the 5-yard line. Wasn't effective.
This is some bad stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how much more of this I can take. I just don't know. This is ridiculous. Oh, Lord. I
also too think what is going to be key for me is you really have to reevaluate some things, because now you're going up against a Cleveland team that's winnable, and then you got Dallas. There really wasn't a lot of positive takeaways. And then that kind of takes me to Scott Turner. I think Scott Turner knows the game of football. He kind of is giving me Greg Roman vibes. That's the best way I can put it. If he stuck to one thing, just running the ball, right? Like I said earlier, Brian Robinson rushed the ball 22 times, 58 yards. Those are yards that matter. Now, there's a couple times where I'll give you an example. There was a 4th and goal from the 1-yard line, right? And we gave Brian Robinson the ball 3 times. Talking about on the fourth, I put Antonio Gibson. Antonio Gibson is not. I would not have put him in that situation. And of course, turned the ball over. Taylor, who I thought who was doing well passing the ball, Scott continuously just said, "Let's just run the ball." And to me, I was just lost in his play calling, because it's like, well, what are you doing? Like, Why do you go away from something that worked so well and you just if you're successfully passing the ball, why don't you adjust to it? Because that's what I would have done. But like I said, I just think time's up on him. And honestly and truthfully, you really can't. We can't keep making excuses for it because I've seen this same record, time and the same movie, time and time again. And like when you struggle in the red zone, when you don't adjust um, offensively, and you're not making the game simple for your quarterback. Unfortunately, those are not you're not going to win football games like that. So, um, and especially when Carson Wentz comes back, I'm not going to put him in this kind of situation. Why would I? I mean, hell, when he was even out there, the pass protection still was not all that was still lethargic. And I mean, if you're banking on Carson Wentz to with the cannon with the arm that he has, make the big plays downfield, and also to take utilizing the playmakers, you got to protect them, and you also too have to make the game simple for your quarterback, make the plays easy. Like that's that's what I see. Those are my observations. And if you're San Francisco, congratulations. You know, Joey Bosa adds another sack count. Raymond McLeod, I think, led the way with the running game. Their goal line defense. I mean, I this one stung a little bit, and I really hope that um, you really have to take these next 2 weeks serious. I mean, you unfortunately, even though that the Seattle Seahawks and the Lions lost, we're the seventh seed, and that's the final playoff spot. Um, we still can control our own destiny, but we have to beat Cleveland and Dallas. Um, I mean, Cleveland obviously was eliminated, and and we're going against a Browns team that has struggled mightily offensively. But since Deshaun Watson's come back, in my opinion, Jacoby Brissett should have been the starting quarterback for the rest of the season. And really offensively this year, they've been struggling. Kareem Hunt's not the same. I know Amari Cooper's been dealing with some injuries, but um, they're just not the same offense they were last year, in my opinion. So you've really got to take advantage of. Um, I do apologize for that. Um, Sorry about the ladies and gentlemen. I am back. I do apologize for that. My laptop just randomly went out. But to close it out, next 2 weeks are our own destiny. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's move into our last final segment of this episode, and that is
incoming message.
Thoughts are running through my mind, so I took some time to find a minute or two to organize them.
Final message. Just continue to just enjoy the holidays, ladies and gentlemen. I know for some the holidays may have been different, but I'm learning to look at the holidays and seeing what the blessings that God has given me as an individual and what He has done for me. I do believe brighter days are coming. I know the holidays may seem bleak for some may get depressed. I mentioned that it's totally human. I understand it. We have to make the best of the holidays, even if it's just something for yourself, even if it's just finding something that will take your mind off the situation, whether that's losing a loved one, whether that's just whatever you're going through. Reach out to a friend, reach out to a therapist. Just take this time to evaluate and figure out what makes you happy and pursue that happiness. Because when we do those things, I promise you, you will see good things happening. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is actually going to conclude this episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about the Washington Commanders. But until then, I will catch you guys on the flip side. Please like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for tuning in to the Big Nate Sports Talk podcast. Peace.
This might be right. Either you feel it or you don't. Might give it a try, yeah. Our bodies collide. Baby, you're everything I want. Let's give it some time, yeah. Somebody told me I should hit and run, but they don't know, they don't know, they don't know. Nobody knows but us how we roll, how we roll. Nobody knows what we got but us, but us. Let them keep talking, let them believe that they know, 'cause they don't know, they don't know, they don't.
Thank you for tuning. Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
Thank you. And you help me retain my sanity. Thank you. I want to thank you. And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything you